Hi folks, I'm the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics. Today I'm going to show you how to build yourself what has quickly become, for me in just the last week or 10 days, the handiest device for honing a knife that I have here in the shop. And if you're wondering why I'm always doing something different, well, I'm learning as I go. So if the last video I did sounded like the best thing since new money, well, that was as good as I knew at the time. But I came up with an idea for sharpening knives. I've shown you how to make a strop strap with just gluing leather onto, these are paint sticks, and those are extremely helpful. But I realized in certain of my knives I wanted more surface area exposed to the honing surface, to the leather itself. And I wanted something, because a paint stick is, you know, I can flex this thing, and if I do very much I can break it. So I simply went, I'll show you the finished product and then we'll show you how easy it is to make. I simply took a 2x4 and I glued onto it a piece of leather. I just took some of this stock leather I have laying around, found a piece big enough, and glued it on it. And the only other product I bought was this, Hutzel's. Hutzel's is a honing compound. It's more of a wax. I've been using case paste, which is a polish rather than a honing compound. The honing compound gives you an extreme fine grit, so it doesn't mar the surface of even a mirror finished knife. In fact, it will enhance it. But it does far better at removing not only impurities from the blade, but removing that burr of metal sometimes that appears when you have sharpened, depending on what you're using. So what we're going to do, oh, and the other sharpening tool I've got, this is called Smith's sharpener. All this is a little Chinese sharpening tool. It has a couple of carbide blades that are at the angle that they've chosen. I don't know what that angle is. I'm guessing it's about, I don't know, 18, 20 degrees. And then it's got a couple of, they're called fine, you know, coarse and fine cutting. I found out that all of the expensive tools out there, the guides, the file guides, the sanding guides, they all do pretty good up to a point, but I was never satisfied. And I've got a number of these, you know, the next best thing for sharpening your knife. And I went back to using this, and I'm going to show you a little trick I found out. So this, I got it at Dick's Sporting Goods, and it must have been $8. You know, it was, I know it was cheap because I bought it, but I found out that I can get as good of results with this and with this as with any of the other devices that I have purchased. Now, I've not bought the $500 or the $300 devices, but I've gotten all of my pocket knives to where when I leave this home, they're cutting the hair on my arm and shaving it quite easily. So I brought a bigger knife for us to see today, but I want to show you how easy it is to do this. So let's just take some time and we'll run through how quick you can make one. And I'll even tell you this, I enjoy making these so much, if you'll send me a message, I might make one for you for a very nominal fee, which basically covers the shipping. So piece of lumber, let's see how we can make this happen. All right, we're back over at the bandsaw, and I've turned it so that hopefully you can see a little of this. But I'm just, basically I'm using this groove here as kind of my guide. All right, that's it for sawing. All right, we're down here in the shop again, and I really believe in my work blocks. They are very handy, but I want you to see something on this one. See this edge? When you use, one of the drawbacks of one of these filing tools is that, I've got a wood knife here that we can play with a little bit, is when you're handling this, your hand is going to be moving. It's hard to keep this in exactly the same angle. But that ledge that goes around the edge of this, when I set this on it, let me get you where I'm sure you can see this. I brought a big knife so you can see. I pull it on there. My hand is not behind it. You know, I don't have my thumb up here trying to wrench it down. All I need to do is hold it down. And that groove, it holds in place. You could do the same thing by simply cutting a notch out on your strop block, and then it would be just as simple as pie to do that. So the work surface allows, when my knife comes off, I don't have to stop my pressure. I can let it draw completely through so that I get to the edge, and then it's landing on my work block. But having said that, now we've just got to find a piece of leather. All right, what I've done is I've come over here, found me a piece of leather, and I'm just penciling off what I'm going to be doing, and I'm actually short just slightly on the corner, but that really doesn't matter. Oh, I'll show you another little trick here. Use one of my straight edges from a strap that I've made. Keeps my blade from wandering. By the way, I strop my razor knives as well. Get a nice clean cut there. There we go. Now on the leather that I have, there's a finished side, which is the side I'm cutting on. It's not the side that I use for stropping, although you can. I have made a couple of strops with the more shiny leather up. But what I like to do, put shiny side down. Now, my dimensions are off ever so slightly here. And when I say slightly, I mean ever so slightly. Once I have glued this down, it's no problem at all to go back to the bandsaw and just square it up. In fact, I actually like doing that because I like to glue it all the way out to the edges, and that always leaves me some glue hanging out. So now we're going to glue it down, and you know how to glue. I'm not going to take up time on the video, but here, I was amazed. I'm not a good sharpener. I have to tell you that up front. I was amazed that with my stropping block, I am able to get far greater results. So all you do is take your Hutzlers and color, just like you're coloring in the coloring book. You're laying a layer of what essentially looks to be wax, but it's wax with about a 3000 grit compound in it. And then you're just going to lay your knife at a shallow angle and draw that blade edge across there. And the advantage of this over this is pretty significant, because I was never sure if I was getting an equal application over the blade, because if I'm moving this way, that's pretty equal, but I'm always moving this way as well. And I just found that with this, I could apply a lot more force and get a broader space of my knife to be honed at the same time. And so this has its place, especially, let me switch hands here, especially if I want to use my strop strap in an active manner, you know, kind of freestanding. But when I can put this down, I can really put some force on it, and I'm doing this too much. I've already stropped it more than I need to. Piece of leather, went right through it. So that is the process. So every one of you, I'll bet, has a piece of lumber of some kind laying around. Leather is obtainable. If you want me to make you one of these, I might even put some some leather on the sides of it so that you can have, you might want different compounding surface on different pieces of leather. But this thing has turned my pocket knives, my kitchen knives, my utility knives into much sharper knives. And I've even noticed with my razor knife, after using it, you just get a buildup of crud on the blades. And this thing really turns them back in literally 4 or 5 strokes on each side. So it's not, I showed you, 10, 15 strokes for demonstration purposes, but the knife itself is sharp once you have honed it. So a simple tool, which someone says, those aren't all that good. Well, by themselves, they are questionable, I'll have to admit, because I can get a knife kind of sharp, but not shave your arm sharp. But taking this, I get a consistent angle because it's already set. And once I learned to put this in a way, the drawback of this, you can't hold it still. So I found me a notch in the wood. Now I can hold it still. And then I go back and I strop that thing with a pretty aggressive strop and some stropping compound. And I am getting the best results I've ever had. So for what it's worth, I'm the bald guy. And if you would like me to make you a strop, send me a message. If you will go to my Facebook page, which is also Bald Guy Basics, you can click on the messenger link, and I can, that way you can send me a private message, and I'll find out how much the shipping is on this. So would $5 be too much? $5 plus shipping to make you one. And Hutsuls is Hutsuls is on eBay. And I forget what I gave for this, but it was very reasonable. It was like $10 or $11. And you're not, unless you're a professional person, you're not going to use this in years and years and years, because once you get a good application, this is on there for a pretty good while. So this is a nice way that you can keep tools, scissors, razor knives, and all of your other blades sharp very easily and consistently. So pick up any one of these brands of tools, and there are, you can find them at Walmart in the kitchen section. They'll do just about the same job. You want to be able to secure them and then hone your blades with a simple block. And that literally, I think this is 4x3, something like that. And you can throw this thing anywhere, and that leather is going to last for years and years and years if you use it properly. So I'm the Bald Guy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave us a like. I hope you'll subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video, because sooner or later I'm going to learn something else.